the little girl simply spoke to a plant and helped her father find the mole who was stealing company secrets. At first, everyone thought she was just talking nonsense, but the little girl not only knew the exact details of the stolen information, she even claimed that the mole was currently stealing things from her father's office. Her father, still skeptical, took everyone to the office, and they caught the mole red-handed. That's when they realized that the little girl could actually communicate with plants. What they didn't know was that the little girl was a koi sacred body. She brought good luck to everyone who was kind to her, but she had almost been sent to an orphanage. It turned out that her mother had been abandoned by her father, so she had never seen her father growing up. When her mother passed away due to illness, she called her father for help, but he rejected her as if she were a plague. She had no choice but to call her uncle, but to her shock, he told her to go die. Just when she was about to be sent to the orphanage by the police, the CEO, like a hero, appeared in front of her and said that since no one wanted her, he would take her in. The little girl thought she was going to live with the CEO as a helpless child, but she was surprised to find that she was pampered by the CEO's entire family. It turned out that the CEO's family was all boys, and the grandfather and grandmother desperately wanted a granddaughter. The grandfather had even fallen ill over this matter, and the CEO, who had always been allergic to women, took the little girl in to fulfill his family's wish. When the CEO released the little girl from the sack, everyone was shocked, but when the CEO announced that he had adopted her, the grandfather, who had been unconscious for 3 days, suddenly woke up. The whole family immediately decided that the little girl was a blessing. The grandmother even declared that the little girl would now be the legitimate granddaughter of the family. From that moment on, the little girl was treated like royalty. She received all sorts of luxury goods, and the family money was at her disposal. At night, the CEO would even tell her stories to help her sleep. One day, the CEO noticed that the little girl always held her mother's ashes, so he decided to take her to buy a grave for her mother. However, on the way, the CEO had to attend to a sudden company issue, so he brought the little girl with him to the office. The people in the company were amazed to see such a well-behaved and adorable daughter. They gathered around her, like they were meeting a national treasure. But as they greeted her, one employee suddenly realized that her $30,000 ring had gone missing. Everyone started frantically searching for it, but when they were at a loss, the little girl suddenly heard the butterfly orchid on the desk speak. It told her the ring was in the employee's drawer. At first, the employee didn't believe her, but when the little girl pulled the ring out from the notebook, everyone was in disbelief. The little girl could really understand what plants were saying. Through the murmurs of the crowd, the little girl learned that company secrets had been stolen by an insider, which led to their new product being rushed to market by competitors. So she immediately asked the butterfly orchid who the mole was. This led to the scene where the mole was caught. Finally, the CEO successfully found the traitor. Then, the CEO continued taking the little girl to choose a grave for her mother. Although the little girl didn't want to be separated from her mother, she immediately helped pick a grave. Because she was still small and weak, she feared that if she dropped the urn, her mother would feel immense pain. So, she and the CEO went to the cemetery with her mother's ashes. But when they reached the entrance, she saw white roses, her mother's favorite flowers, at the flower shop. So the little girl decided to buy a bouquet for her mother. While the CEO was on the phone, he let her choose the flowers herself.